Hi everyone. So today's lesson is all about using the narrative writing checklist. Okay, so what you're going to be doing today is going through your stories and using this checklist to help you revise and edit. Now take a minute and think about those two words. What do you think revise means? Starts with the part re. Revise means to rewind, right? To go back in your story and add or change anything that you like or don't like about your story to make it sound better. Edit is a little bit different. Let me scroll down. So this is the revising section, and this is still revising. Down here is edit. Edit is spelling and punctuation, checking for spelling and punctuation. Okay, so these are the things we're going to work on today. Now, the first thing that you're going to need is your story. So I have my book right here. Okay, this is my story about Gretchen. Can you see that? And before you get started with the checklist, I would like you to pause the video and reread your story. Read it out loud to yourself or have someone at your house read it to you, because sometimes it's easier to hear what's missing or what needs to be fixed if somebody else reads it. Okay, so pause the video and read your story. Okay, are you ready to move on? Once you have reread your story and gotten it fresh in your mind, now you are ready to use the narrative writing checklist to help you revise and edit. Okay, so let's go through this checklist together. The first part says, I wrote about when I did something. Now, this checklist is for small moments and for fiction, so you wouldn't necessarily be using this word I. You might say, you would say this part I, but you would say over here when the name of the character did something. So you might say, I wrote about when Joey did something, if your main character's name is Joey. Okay, so now we're going to ask ourselves, did I do it like a first grader? So let's check. Lead. Lead is the beginning of your story. So look at your first page. I have mine right here. It says, I tried to make a beginning for my story. Did you include the character and the setting? That's what our beginnings should include. All right, so I'm going to stop and look. I did include that, but if you remember a couple of lessons back, I was thinking that I should have added something more about the place, right? So it says here, Gretchen heard a noise. Is that a good first sentence for my story? Probably not. I probably could go back in and add another sentence right above it that tells where Gretchen was. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, you can follow along with me or you can pause. Okay, so let me do that. Gretchen was in her backyard, period. Okay, Gretchen was in her backyard. So if you can see, I went in and I added another sentence there. It's okay if it's not super neat and tidy because we want to do the best we can to add more details. So this is more important than writing neatly right now. All right, so there's my extra sentence to help with my beginning. Next step is checking transition words, looking through your story and seeing if you use the word and, then, or so when it's needed. Okay, so I'm going to just take a sneak peek through. And yes, I do have some spots where I'm going to need to go back in and add that. All right, so I'm going to do that now. Put a little caret. I don't know if you guys can see this, right? And then the storm passed. Okay, so we've got that word then. Sorry, you can't see. All right, then. That's a good transition word. All right, and then my next step says ending. So you can pause and do this with your story right now if you want to just follow along with me, right? Check your ending. Go to your last page. Everybody got to the last page? My last page looks like this, okay? It says Gretchen raced for the house. Her mom was in the door. Do you think her mom was in the door? That doesn't sound right. I'm going to draw a line through the word in, and I'm going to say that her mom was at the door because I think that that sounds better. She was at the door. She ran fast. Okay? That sound good? Okay. So you're going to continue on going through this checklist, organizing your story and elaborating. So I did a good job. I went through and checked that already. Elaborating means to add more details, right? Maybe I could do a better job adding some more describing words. But right here, I like what I did. I said, it was a fierce bird. I'm going to underline that word fierce, right? Because that's a describing word for the word bird, for the animal. Okay? Adding more labels. So I don't really have too many labels. Maybe I need to label this, right? This is the tree house. So I need to go in and label that. Tree house. Okay. Doing that. Craft, meaning labels and words to give details. Make sure you've got your labels and your pictures and your detailed words. Okay. Spelling. This is a tough one. Used all you know about words and chunks of words to help you spell. Okay, you should know a lot of word families by now that you can rely on to help you. Mrs. Farisi's been teaching you a lot of vowel teams. Use those that you know to help you check your spelling. I see a vowel team right here, right? Peep, E-E. So I know that's spelled correctly because I remember learning the E-E vowel team. Another thing you can do is check the word wall. Okay, you have a word wall. Look at it to help you and make sure that all those snap words are spelled correctly in your story. All right, and then the very last thing today, boys and girls, is punctuation. I know in Mrs. Farisi's class they do COPS, right? Capitalization, organization, punctuation, and spelling. Punctuation means, did you put your periods at the end of your sentence, right? I ended all my sentences with punctuation. Capitals. Every sentence should start with a capital letter, and every name should start with a capital letter. One thing you might do that's kind of fun is if you have a highlighter at home, go through and highlight the first letter in the first word of every sentence. I'm going to underline just to kind of show you what I mean. So this is the first letter in that word. I'm underlining it to make sure that I capitalize. I'm looking to make sure that they're all capitalized. Okay? And this one's a little tricky. This is kind of like a challenge skill here. It says, I used commas in dates and lists. So if you have any spots where you might need to add a comma, go ahead and check that you did that correctly. All right, let's see that these stories get fixed up and made even better than they already are. Okay, I look forward to seeing your stories today, boys and girls. Bye.